The night the real young master was returning, the Wilson Villa was hosting a grand banquet. I was planning to slip away. Just moments ago, my annoying second brother sneered at me across the ballroom, his voice dripping with mockery. Some people who stole someone else's place are finally worthless now. Huh, as if I'd care. Over the years, I'd kept my head down and played my part well. What they didn't know was that I had been secretly saving up cash, jewelry, anything of value. I always knew this day would come. Under the cover of night, I quietly stuffed bank cards, wads of cash, and sparkling jewelry into my backpack. I was almost done when someone suddenly stepped out of the shadows. Before I could react, I was yanked into a tight embrace from behind. The chill of the person's body seeped through my clothes, but strangely, there was a faint scent of mint clinging to them. Wait, this scent. Could it be Harry? His chin rested lightly on my shoulder, arms crossing firmly over my chest. What the hell? Who are you? I whispered, panicked. I couldn't scream, not with all my valuables right in front of me. He didn't answer. Instead, his fingers brushed the back of my neck, and soft kisses trailed down slowly, lingering and gentle. My knees buckled immediately. Hot breath washed over my skin, and I felt my clothes being pulled open. He pressed his palm over my lips, and I instinctively swallowed, trembling all over. I was so nervous my eyes began to tear up. He was tall, powerful, an alpha, no doubt. But he still wouldn't speak. Damn it, who was this guy? Then his scent intensified, flooding the space around me. My face flushed uncontrollably. My instincts reacted faster than my mind could think. He bit the edge of my face, the sting sharp and sudden. His cold cheek pressed against the side of my neck, his hand sliding down my waist, fingertips trailing heat across my abdomen. In my confusion, I reached back, my fingers brushing across a long, distinct scar on his back. The next day, I looked like a mess, eyes swollen, face streaked with dried tears. My second brother, Peter Wilson, clearly noticed. He sat there, legs crossed arrogantly, and sneered at me. What's wrong? Crying under the covers last night? Funny, though. I could have sworn I heard you whimpering and moaning. I immediately snapped, glaring at him. Why? Are you that obsessed with me? Don't tell me you actually like me. To my surprise, Peter stammered. His usual cocky expression faltered, and a light blush spread across his sharp, handsome face. What nonsense are you talking about? I just like bullying you. Wait a second. Could it be him? It suddenly clicked. This bastard might have been the one from last night. He even threatened to deal with me before. Then came the real young master. He stood there in a pristine white suit, looking like a prince from a fairy tale, slender, composed, and emotionally distant. He glanced at me and said gently, "Brother Oliver, I'm sorry. Bringing me back like this has caused you a lot of suffering." His words hit me right in the gut. I felt a lump in my throat and cursed the bastard from last night even more. If it weren't for that thief, I would have already been long gone by now. Worse, he didn't just mess things up. He stole all my money. Every last bit. I couldn't find it anywhere. I had to find him, for the sake of my stolen fortune. So during lunch break, I quietly snuck into Peter's room. I ransacked the place, drawers, boxes, everything. And then, I saw a whole row of underwear. I remembered, during that moment of intimacy last night, I had purposely felt the fabric of that person's underwear. It was silk. Real silk, and most importantly, well, let's just say I'd remember the feel of it anywhere. God, this was humiliating. Face burning red, I picked one up to inspect the material more closely, just to confirm. Right then, the door slammed open. Oliver Wilson, what the hell is wrong with you? My head snapped up to see Peter standing there, absolutely horrified. What's that in your hand? I froze, realizing too late I was still holding his underwear. I'm going to lose years off my life at this rate. I instantly tossed the underwear to the floor. Face burning red, I scrambled to explain myself. I've had it rough, all right? Even my underwear isn't as nice as yours. I just wanted to borrow a few pairs. Peter Wilson marched over and grabbed me by the collar. Just as he was about to punch me, I quickly pursed my lips and tilted my head up to look at him with big, watery eyes. He froze, clearly softening. Instead, he shoved me hard onto the bed and yelled, "I really misjudged you. I had no idea you were so into me." His ears were bright red now. You even stole my underwear. Bet you were going to do something nasty with it, weren't you? Shameless. I figured, why stop now? I picked up the underwear again and felt along the edge. The fabric wasn't the same as the one from last night. Suspect cleared, for now. I cleared my throat and sneered, "Don't flatter yourself. Your underwear is smaller than mine. I don't even want it." Then I flung it back onto the bed and stomped on it twice for good measure. At that exact moment, someone was standing outside the door. Big brother, Harry Wilson. He wore glasses, his gaze unreadable. That scent from last night, it was definitely his. Could it have been him? In this massive villa, he usually treated me with indifference. Sometimes he even looked at me like I was a nuisance. But why would he take all my money? I dashed over. "Brother Harry." Like I was the one in the wrong, I tugged at his sleeve, nose sniffling pitifully. His fingertips brushed against my palm. His expression was dark and quiet. "Good boy. Do you have a thing for your second brother?" "Huh?" I recoiled. "That idiot, please, not in a million years." Then I remembered my money. Years of sweet-talking and scheming with shady friends, it all went into that savings pile. "Big brother, did you take my money last night?" Head low, voice shaky, tears brimming in my eyes. How messed up is this? He slept with me and still robbed me blind? "Give it back! Return my money, my precious gold coins." I didn't even ask for compensation for my body. Now he wanted to steal from me too? Harry Wilson gripped my fist tightly. He leaned down near my neck and whispered low in my ear, "You want your money? Then leave the Wilson family." My eyes lit up, but I put on a hesitant act. "Leave? I mean, if you're paying me, it's not impossible." "How much?" He chuckled darkly, eyes scanning me slowly. "You're still as naive and foolish as ever, but at least you're nice to look at." I scoffed internally. 1 million. Be my lover. I was stunned. So he wanted me, but had the nerve to insult my soul? I'd saved up around 8 million over the years, counting all the odds and ends. Now, he wanted to steal my money and get free benefits? Unbelievable. What about payment? Can I get it beforehand? "No," he said coldly. "Come to my place first." He handed me a business card with an address on it. After he left, I tore it to shreds. "Ha! Be your lover? Please. I've already got someone else in mind." When I arrived at the club, I sat down with my backpack on. Great. The malice of the entire world rushed straight at me. Because I used to be so arrogant and nasty, a lot of people couldn't stand me. But it's fine. I'm planning to run away soon anyway. I saw Joshua sitting on a bench inside the indoor basketball court, twisting off a water bottle cap. His skin was fair, and his wet hair was slicked back, revealing a handsome forehead. Joshua was the untouchable flower on the mountaintop, cold and aloof. I kicked his foot. "You like Derek, don't you?" Derek is the real young master, the one born with a halo around him. And I'm just a substitute, picked up to comfort the family when the real young master went missing. Joshua raised his eyes and stared at me. "You think I like him?" he said calmly. "Then just keep thinking that." Seriously, why is he always so calm and composed? "I found out one of your secrets," I said through clenched teeth. Sure enough, Joshua's face instantly turned pale, and he looked at me warily. "What secret?" "Come to the equipment room. I've got a surprise for you." I raised an arrogant smirk and saw his Adam's apple move. Once we were inside the equipment room, Joshua pinned me down. "You'd better explain clearly what it is, or else." He gripped my wrist. His expression was calm and cold, his arms strong. I sneered and jabbed at the back of his calf. "Joshua, what are you acting all arrogant for? So what if you like Derek? On your birthday that day?" I licked my lips. "You were holding Derek's underwear. What were you planning to do with that, huh?" The door wasn't closed. I saw it. Back then, I just couldn't find the bathroom and accidentally saw that teddy bear underwear in Joshua's hand. How did I know it was Derek's? Because even though Derek looked all quiet and gentle, he actually helped me wash my underwear before. I didn't want them, so I gave them to Derek. I stepped on Joshua's foot and held onto the desk behind me. Never thought the noble young master of the capital would secretly be lusting after the delicate flower. Now that Derek is the real young master, and judging by his looks he's a fragile omega, he probably couldn't handle your intensity, right? You wouldn't want him to find out how perverted you are, would you? A trace of panic flashed in Joshua's eyes, but then he calmly looked into mine and said, "Then what do you want?" His lips were full and red, and right now he was holding my palm. Damn, it tickled a little. I finally had my chance to speak. You're rich. How about pretending to be my boyfriend? That way I could get rid of that bastard Harry Wilson, keep living a flashy life, and continue scamming money from my gang of freeloaders. Joshua froze for a second, then replied with perfect calm, okay. That night, there was a gathering. I saw a bunch of people on the forum trash-talking me, clearly planning to embarrass me in person. Ha, go ahead and try. I've got Joshua backing me up. I licked my cherry jam ice cream and had already arranged to attend the event with Joshua. His gaze was dark and unreadable. I always felt like there was something deeper behind his eyes, like I owed him something. It made me uneasy. After returning to the villa, the moment I got to the second floor, someone suddenly yanked me into a room. My heart immediately started pounding, mostly because I had trauma from a previous incident. Baby, I knew you liked me. I was pinned down, and when I looked up, I saw second brother Peter Wilson's annoying face. Darling. Peter Wilson looked at me, his hand braced against my neck. Tonight, you're going to become my toy. He looked at me with a mocking kind of pity, like he was doing me a favor. Beg me. Maybe I'll protect you. I turned my head away. No need. Peter Wilson didn't believe me and reached out to touch my waist. How did I not notice before? You're actually really good looking. His eyes grew hazy and then he tilted his head and bit my ear. Tell me, how long have you been lusting after me? Ugh. The audacity. He really believes that? Ha, I don't like you at all. I gathered my courage and slapped him across the face. He froze for a second, clearly upset, rubbing his cheek while glaring at me begrudgingly. You'll be begging me tonight. Yeah, right. I'd beg anyone but you. I already had someone to back me up. Just wait. Peter Wilson's expression is going to be chef's kiss when he finds out. I turned to leave, but Peter Wilson suddenly grabbed my wrist and pinned my hands down in front of him. He loomed over me, his eyes tinged with an angry red. Not gonna beg me? Peter Wilson spoke through gritted teeth, his voice laced with bitter jealousy. Then who are you going to beg, huh? Suddenly, a brilliant idea popped into my head, one that would definitely piss him off. I'll beg Big Brother. Watching the dissatisfaction flare in Peter Wilson's eyes, I deliberately emphasized my words. He seems mature, handsome, reliable. I don't like wild dogs like you. Peter Wilson looked like a cannon had gone off in his chest, furious beyond belief. He even pulled off his belt and pressed it against my chin. Say it! Who do you choose? God, why is this bastard also such a pervert? Looks like I really need to run away soon. There's not a single normal person in the Wilson family. I'm not choosing you. I stubbornly locked eyes with Peter Wilson. That clearly struck a nerve. He looked truly pissed. He suddenly scooped me up, tied my hands, and threw me onto the bed, then pinched my waist hard. I felt a sharp pain. Ow! Damn it, that hurt. Tears sprang to my eyes instantly. Okay, I surrender. Second brother, I choose you. Peter Wilson's lips curled into a smile. He pulled me into his arms and nuzzled against my chin like he was the most affectionate person on earth. That's more like it, Oliver. Harry Wilson? What's so good about him anyway? He's 5 years older than you. He's old. Then he let out a muffled grunt and kissed me. No. Ground against my lips. His mouth was hot and wet, licking and even biting down hard. What the hell? How am I supposed to explain this to Joshua later? Wait, why am I even worried? Isn't my real boyfriend anyway. Still, this brat bit me. Unforgivable. Oliver, tell me, who do you like the most? Peter Wilson's voice was lazy as he stroked my back. My skin still hurt from earlier. The pain brought fresh tears to my eyes. And then, knock, knock, knock. Oliver? Oliver? Are you there? It was Harry Wilson. And honestly, at this point, I'd rather face him than stay another second with Peter Wilson. My lips were sealed, I couldn't speak. Suddenly, bam! The door burst open. Harry Wilson stood there, his face stormy and cold. His eyes landed on me, my wrists red and marked, my eyes still brimming with tears. And the culprit? That blue-haired devil, Peter Wilson, still pinning me on his lap like I was some prize. Big brother. I choked out, my voice trembling. Peter Wilson's eyes flared with jealousy. He grabbed my wrist hard. Don't call him that. You think he's any better than me? Peter Wilson! Harry Wilson cut him off, his voice like ice. I'd never seen him this angry. The veins on the back of his hand bulged as he marched over and ripped me from Peter's grasp. "Come here, sweetheart. Come to Big Brother." His voice was unbelievably gentle. He led me into the hallway, his golden-rimmed glasses catching the light. His eyes were sharp, his brows furrowed as he stared at me. Then he looked at my swollen lips, his fist clenched tight. "I won't let him hurt you like that ever again." Harry Wilson brought me into his car. Unusually, he didn't bring up anything about the contract, and I wasn't in the mood to talk either. I glanced at my phone, and the screen lit up with dozens of unread messages. "Where are you? I've been waiting for an hour. We agreed to go together. Where are you? It's been so long. Didn't you say you'd choose me as your support? Are you backing out? No way. Wait, wasn't Joshua supposed to be cool and composed? Why is he acting so clingy all of a sudden?" I typed back a polite message. "I'll be there soon. You go in first. I'll find you later." He instantly replied with a simple, "Okay." Harry Wilson glanced at me, as if he wanted to see my screen. I quickly put the phone away. "Who was that?" he asked, his voice low and slightly displeased. "A friend," I replied casually. Harry let out a dry chuckle, clearly not convinced. "With me protecting you, you don't need to worry about anyone else." When we arrived at the banquet, Harry Wilson walked in with me by his side. The room's atmosphere shifted immediately. All the mocking glances disappeared, especially from those I'd crossed paths with before. Joshua stood near the staircase in a white suit, looking like a flower on a high cliff, elegant, untouchable. Under the chandelier's light, he looked stunning and cold. His gaze darkened the moment he saw me, especially when he noticed my lips, and the way he glared at Harry Wilson, full of hostility. Later, while I was in the restroom, a few of my old enemies walked in. "You haven't been kicked out by the Fu family yet? Look at your lips. Been climbing into someone's bed, huh?" "Shut it!" I snapped, kicking one of them. "Would you dare say that in front of my two brothers? Also, for your info, I kissed an Omega. They actually care about me." Total nonsense, but I said it without blinking. Just as they were about to argue back, Joshua entered. The Ice Prince himself, with his naturally intimidating aura. They went quiet instantly and left. I was bending over to wash my hands when Joshua suddenly shoved me lightly against the door. "Your lips? Who kissed you?" he asked coldly. I don't know why, but he was actually kind of scary like this. I stammered. I bit them myself. Joshua pressed his fingers against my lips, frowning. "Oliver, if you chose me, then stop messing around with others." "Aren't you just my fake boyfriend?" I asked, confused. "Me being with someone else has nothing to do with you." Joshua leaned in, his eyes sharp. "If we're putting on a show, we have to commit. No slipping up. Got it?" I nodded. He kind of had a point. After Joshua and I stepped out together, Derek stood before the crowd. He looked delicate and fair, like a pure, resilient flower blooming deep within a quiet mountain valley. Harry Wilson glanced at him with admiration. "This is the true young master of the Wilson family, my and Peter's biological younger brother. As for Oliver, he has no blood ties to me." His voice was loud and clear, his tone final. He swept his gaze across me like I was nothing more than dust under his feet. My second brother, Peter Wilson, watched me with a smile, clearly waiting to see me fall from grace. In the great hall, everyone's eyes were fixed on me. In that moment, I had a shameful thought. Harry Wilson did this on purpose. He could have kept my identity quiet, spared me the humiliation. But no, he wanted to cut ties completely. He said it like this so everyone would turn on me, so I'd have no choice but to cling to him, to be his so-called lover, his obedient little pet. Heh. Too bad for him. I've got someone better now. I raised my voice brightly. I also have something to share with Big Brother and Second Brother. My tone was light, but underneath it was a quiet hint of revenge. Harry looked at me, a flicker of confusion in his eyes. I stepped onto the stage and subtly touched Joshua's wrist. Hopefully, he wouldn't sabotage me. Clearing my throat, I announced to the crowd, "I have a boyfriend. My husband is Joshua." Then I smiled, full of triumph. The room erupted in disbelief. Harry Wilson looked like a snow-laden pine tree collapsing under its own weight. Peter Wilson nearly stomped in frustration, mumbling, "No way, no way, you two can't be together." Even the real young master, Derek, had gone pale, staring daggers at me. Oops, sorry, but seeing their shocked faces made me really happy. I turned to Joshua with sugary sweetness and urged, "Hubby, look at them. They don't believe us." Joshua's expression was cold, but his ears had turned pink. Then, in front of everyone, he leaned in and kissed me. It wasn't just a quick peck, he completely swept through my mouth like he meant it. Wow. Joshua was really going all in on this fake relationship. Even his crush was watching, and he still went for it? Suddenly, the sound of a wine glass shattering broke through the air. Harry Wilson's voice was icy as he glared at me and spoke each word clearly. "Oliver, what do you think you're doing?" Peter Wilson's eyes turned bloodshot. He jumped down from the platform, ready to fight Joshua. "I've never liked you, and now you dare steal my person?" Peter's fist smashed into Joshua's cheekbone, forcing his head to snap back. Joshua tilted his head and sneered. "What? You're mad. Oliver is mine now. You guys mocked and belittled him from the start. You don't deserve him." Oh my God. Joshua was acting way too well. "Hubby, I'm so touched," I said sweetly. Joshua gave a small nod, glancing at me, and blushed. He started fighting back against Peter, and the two of them were evenly matched. Joshua might have looked slender, but he was way more agile. Hey, yes, fight, fight! Best case, Joshua completely flattens Peter. Yay! Harry Wilson stormed over and grabbed my wrist tightly, pushing me against the partition wall. "Who told you that you could date Joshua?" His voice was filled with anger, pressing his body closer to mine. His emotions were sour and bitter, sharp enough to sting. "I've already prepared a house for us. We can move out of the Wilson estate and live together." Harry's pupils darkened as he stared into me. "When did you two get together? Speak." He was furious. I wasn't about to back down now. "When you said you wanted me to be your lover," I said with a mocking smile. "Seriously, $1 million to buy off a beggar? The watch you stole from me alone was worth $4 million. Harry frowned in confusion. "When did I ever steal from you? If you think the money's not enough, I can add more." "I don't want it," I snapped, still refusing to admit it. Without hesitation, I kicked hard at Harry's shin, trying to get him to let go of me. "You even said you'd only give me money after we got together. So stingy. Joshua is way more generous. He's happy to spend money on me." Harry's chest heaved heavily. He looked absolutely miserable. For a moment, his tone softened unexpectedly. "Be good. Don't be with Joshua, okay? I can take care of you." In his eyes, I actually saw pleading. The cold and proud Harry Wilson was willing to humble himself for love. For a moment, I was slightly shaken. To be honest, in all these years, it was the first time I'd ever seen Harry like this. "If you don't say anything, I'll take it as you agreeing, okay?" He gently caressed the back of my head. "Break up with Joshua later, and we'll still be a family, all right?" Normally steady and restrained, Harry kissed me without any hesitation. He kissed my eyelids and was about to move downward when suddenly Derek burst into the room. Tears streamed down his cheeks like a rain-soaked blossom. "Big brother, Oliver. Second brother and Joshua are fighting too fiercely. Second brother's rib is broken." "Let it break." Harry's expression darkened even further. "Peter is useless anyway." At that moment, I went out with them. Derek's timing was suspiciously perfect. I rushed over and found Peter Wilson collapsed on the ground, clutching his side in pain. Oh no, I wanted Peter to get hurt a little, but I didn't actually mean for him to end up this miserable. Joshua was pinning Peter down, even ready to hit him again. "Joshua," Peter gritted out, "you really think you can win his love? He'll kick you to the curb sooner or later. He's heartless." Joshua raised his fist again, but I quickly moved to stop him. Peter froze in shock. Joshua turned to look at me, hesitating. Peter's throat let out a trembling sound, full of disbelief. I just blew lightly on Joshua's hand and teased, "Careful not to hurt your hand." Peter's face twisted like he was about to cry. Harry Wilson handled the situation with a dark expression and personally dragged both of them to the hospital. He gave me a complicated look, filled with frustration and disappointment, as if to say, "You almost..." I was furious. Almost what? Harry was overwhelmed, busy dealing with the fallout and the growing tension with the Wilson family. Meanwhile, I lounged around the villa. Joshua and Harry kept sending me messages one after another, urging me to come visit them. The constant messaging was so annoying. If they weren't sick, I would have blocked them both without a second thought. All I could think about was when I could finally get my hands on my assets and leave. One night, I secretly snuck into Harry's office, searching high and low, but found nothing. When I turned around, I nearly jumped. Derek was standing there, watching me. "Oliver, what are you looking for?" he asked, blinking innocently. I shook my head. Nothing important. Derek tilted his head, then handed me a Patek Philippe watch he was holding. "Were you looking for this?" I cradled the watch excitedly. "Where did you find it?" Tears suddenly welled up in Derek's eyes. "I saw something really scary. Oliver, will you take me away?" Derek's small, pointed chin, his pure, harmless face, it made my heart soften a little. "What scary thing did you see?" I asked. Derek clung tightly to my arm and whispered, "The Wilson family. They're all crazy. I can only trust you now, Oliver." He clung to me, sobbing. That's when he confessed. He had found those things inside Harry Wilson's room. So it really was Harry who stole it. And he wouldn't even admit it. And more than that, Derek told me he had come looking for some documents when he discovered that Harry had been secretly spying on me all along. He even helped me pull up the surveillance footage from Harry's computer. A chill ran down my spine. It was true. Harry had actually been monitoring me shamelessly. Derek hugged me even tighter, as if trying to soak up any warmth from me. "Oliver, I also found out Peter Wilson is seriously ill. They found me because they want me to donate a kidney to him. I'm so scared. Can we run away together?" Derek's tears flowed like a broken string of pearls. How could I say no? I hadn't expected Harry and Peter to be so disgusting behind the scenes. Without hesitation, I grabbed Derek's hand tightly. "Don't be afraid. I'll protect you." Derek nodded and kissed my forehead. With Derek's help, I recovered all of my lost assets. That night, without making a sound, I packed my things and escaped with Derek into the night. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself trapped in a pitch-black room. My hands and feet were tied up, and there he was, my supposedly delicate, helpless little prince, Derek, now dressed in a sharp suit. He wore leather pants that showed off his long legs, and a few dyed strands of hair framed his face. A crooked smile curved his lips. He looked dangerous. Gone was the innocent, harmless boy. What stood before me was cocky, wild, and unrestrained. "Baby." Derek leaned in close, one foot on the chair I was tied to. "You're finally mine. All mine." "You? What are you doing? Are you really Derek?" My brain short-circuited. Of all the outcomes I'd imagined, I never expected Derek to be the truly terrifying one. "Of course I'm Derek," he said, tilting my chin up, his gaze hazy with obsession. "I love you so much, Oliver. So much that I can't stand the thought of anyone else having you." Derek held my face, guiding my hand to touch his abs. His muscles were tight and firm, and as he licked his lips, a shiver ran down my spine. "No more sneaking around stealing your clothes," Derek whispered, pressing his forehead against mine. "You're right here with me now." Then, with a flick of a switch, he turned on all the lights. In the blinding brightness, I realized the entire wall was covered in pictures of me, all stolen. Every angle, every moment, some recent, some old. And a massive screen played footage of me showering. Peter Wilson was never sick," Derek said, nibbling at my ear and smearing honey on my lips. "And I'm the one who was spying on you all along." "So you're the real freak," I shouted, rage boiling in my chest. "After everything, I, Oliver, ended up falling for a master manipulator, hiding behind a fake angelic mask." "Yes, I am," Derek murmured, his eyes gleaming. "Because I love you, Oliver." Then he pressed his lips to mine in a deep kiss. I couldn't even breathe. He bit my collarbone and held me tight, as if he never planned to let go. Suddenly a phone started ringing. I looked at him pleadingly. He smiled and answered the call. On the other end, Joshua's voice came through, worried. "Oliver, where are you? We can't find you." "Joshua! No, husband, help me!" But Derek calmly responded, "Joshua, he's right here in my arms." Then he hung up, cutting off my only hope. "Oliver," he purred, caressing my waist. "Who were you calling husband, I stared at him in horror, completely breaking down. "Derek, what did I ever do to you? Why are you doing this to me? I'm begging you, let me go." I gasped for breath, tears brimming in my eyes, but Derek just shook his head, kissing the tips of my toes with a reverent devotion. It's fate, Oliver. The day I came to the Wilson family and met you, I knew. His knees pressed against mine as he kissed me again and again, as if he wanted to fuse me into his very being. I gritted my teeth, and suddenly my fingers brushed against a scar near his hip bone. My heart instantly went cold. That night, it was you? Yes, Derek said, a dark light flickering in his eyes. They all thought I was an Omega, but the truth is, I'm an Alpha. My vision blurred, and I passed out. Derek kept me locked away for a long time. Eventually, I couldn't hold it in anymore and asked, Derek, why are you doing this to me? Because I love you, he said in a low voice while carefully trimming my nails. He knelt down to wash my feet, then gently kissed my back. I don't even know who you are anymore. I clenched my fists, wanting nothing more than to trample him underfoot. But every time I lashed out at him, Derek would smile like he was overjoyed. Harder, Oliver. Hit me harder. Make it feel good, he'd say eagerly. You've lost your mind. After bathing me, Derek tucked the blanket over me with a tenderness that made my skin crawl. Oliver, do you remember that summer camp you went to? I paused, and then it came back to me. Back then, our elite school organized a summer camp in a remote mountain village to experience real life. There was this one kid whose face I barely remember. He was always gloomy and quiet. Everyone bullied him, throwing mud and calling him a stray no one wanted. I, on the other hand, was the spoiled rich boy in pristine clothes. One time, while Derek was washing his foster family's clothes by the river, I sat lazily on the bank, eating a chocolate pie. One packet slipped from my bag and landed near his feet. I said casually, "You can have it." In that moment, I remember his gray eyes lighting up with happiness. He looked at me and said, "That was the first time I ever had something that tasted that good." My breath hitched. After that, Derek would always come closer to me whenever I was around, pretending it was just a coincidence. I often gave him snacks. Later, when someone bullied him and tried to steal what I gave him, I was furious. How dare they steal something I gave him? I beat them all up. Derek's body was covered in scars. When I saw them, I said, "That's awful. You should call the police and get out of there." That offhand remark ended 10 years of misery for him. At the time, no one knew Derek was the real son of the Wilson family. He'd been kidnapped by a vengeful nanny and vanished without a trace. So when I met him back then, I didn't know he was the real young master. And me? I was the adopted son Father Wilson brought home to ease Mother Wilson's grief. To the outside world, I was always introduced as their biological son. I never imagined that Derek and I were connected like this. "I saved you! Why are you doing this to me?" Derek fell silent. He gently rubbed my palm. "Because ever since you saved me, I never forgot you." "Oliver, do you know how excited I was when I saw you again in college?" That was the moment I realized I had fallen for you. I was no longer that pitiful, unwanted child in the dark. I envied you. I hated how others could love you so openly. And when I found out I was the real son of the Wilson family, I felt both love and hatred toward you for living the life that should have been mine. I know it's not your fault, but my feelings for you run deeper than anyone else's. My love for you is twisted, burning, and even Peter and Harry like you too. It's laughable. How could they compare to me? I had to take you back. Derek rested his chin on my shoulder and whispered with obsession in his voice, "Oliver, I love you so, so much." The door was kicked open with a deafening bang. Peter Wilson's furious roar tore through the suffocating room. "Derek, you shameless bastard." Before I could even react, Peter rushed in, grabbed Derek by the collar, and slammed him to the floor. His boots came down mercilessly, again and again, each stomp fueled by rage. "You think you're the only one who suffered?" Peter snarled. "Taking it out on Oliver. You filthy piece of trash." Derek didn't fight back. He lay there, letting the blows rain down, his eyes hollow, his face twisted with a sick, broken smile. Across the room, Harry Wilson stood like a blade of ice, his face carved in stone. He didn't move. He didn't need to. His silent judgment alone was enough to crush. At the sight of them, my brothers, something inside me snapped. Tears spilled down my face as I cried out, voice hoarse and broken, "Big brother! Second brother! Save me!" Harry strode to me in 2 long steps. Without a word, he draped a heavy coat over my exposed body, shielding me from the cold and the shame. Then, without hesitation, he lifted me into his arms, cradling me as if I were something precious and fragile. Behind him, Joshua appeared, his dark eyes burning with a hatred so sharp it could have sliced Derek into pieces where he lay. Derek struggled up from the floor, blood dripping from his mouth, his expression crumbling into pure desperation. He lunged, grabbing at Harry's leg, clawing like a drowning man. "Big brother, please don't take Oliver away. Oliver, come back to me." Harry didn't even flinch. He crouched slightly, grabbed Derek by the hair, and slapped him so hard across the face that Derek's head snapped sideways with a sickening crack. "You're vile," Harry said, voice low and deadly. "And you're not his anything." I nodded weakly in Harry's arms, every bone in my body aching with exhaustion. I just wanted to leave this hell. Joshua stepped closer then, grabbing my hand from Harry's grip. "Give Oliver to me," he said coldly. "Your whole Wilson family is filled with lunatics. I don't trust any of you." I nodded again, without hesitation. The Wilson family was filled with madness. And honestly, Joshua wasn't exactly a saint himself. But right now, even a devil looked like salvation compared to Derek, and everything he had dragged me through. Seeing my agreement, Joshua's fingers tightened around mine, refusing to let go. "Can we at least discuss this outside?" Joshua said through gritted teeth. I buried my face in the crook of his neck, desperate to escape the walls that had held me prisoner. The 12 days Derek had kept me locked away felt more like 12 years. Every moment stretched, every breath suffocating. "Oliver!" Derek staggered to his feet, blood smeared across his face, his eyes red and wild. He took a step forward, reaching for me like a man possessed. "Didn't I treat you well?" he croaked. "I waited on you. I cared for you." "You imprisoned me," I said hoarsely, my voice barely above a whisper. The words struck him harder than any blow. Derek clutched at his chest as if he could physically hold back the breaking of his heart. Harry shielded me behind his body, cold disgust flashing in his eyes. "Over my dead body will I ever let you near Oliver again?" Peter sneered, stepping forward menacingly. "Touch him again, and I'll make sure you disappear from this earth." Joshua squeezed my hand reassuringly, leaning close to murmur, "You're safe now. We'll protect you. He won't hurt you again." For the first time in 12 endless days, a flicker of hope stirred in my chest. Returning to the Wilson family mansion felt like waking from a nightmare, only to find myself wrapped in an awkward, overprotective dream. Harry and Peter were on their absolute best behavior, acting like two golden retrievers desperate for approval. Every morning, every afternoon, every night, endless concern. "Oliver, are you cold? Oliver, are you hungry? Oliver, do you want a new car, a vacation, a life-size teddy bear?" Honestly, it was exhausting. Derek had been thrown out, and not quietly either. But like some stubborn ghost, he lingered at the gates of the mansion. Every day, rain or shine, there he was, hair messy, eyes swollen from crying. One afternoon, I cracked open my bedroom window and caught him standing there, a sad figure under the gray sky. Tears welled up on his lashes like morning dew. I sneered. "Oh, get over yourself," I snapped, slamming the window shut. The faintest sound of his choked sob followed me as I turned away. To help me heal, as Harry dramatically put it, they even allowed Joshua to come over and take care of me. The precious Oliver must be pampered at all costs, after all. Truthfully, I didn't feel fragile. I just treated the past 12 days like a bad dog bite. Painful, but not worth dwelling on. While Joshua was gently wiping my fingers one lazy afternoon, I mused aloud, "Joshua, you're really good looking, you know." Joshua's hand froze for a beat. His eyes flickered. A quick flash of something unreadable, before he lowered his gaze again. Across the room, Peter, who had been pretending to read a magazine, jolted upright like he'd been electrocuted. "Oliver, I'm pretty good looking too," he blurted out, cheeks burning crimson. That very afternoon, Peter disappeared into town and came back sporting a dramatically cool new hairstyle, slicked back with enough hair gel to drown a small animal. He kept ruffling it in front of me, like a peacock showing off its tail. Harry wasn't much better. I caught him silently inspecting himself in the mirror later, frowning hard at his reflection. During afternoon tea, he stirred his cup moodily and asked, "Oliver, am I really that old?" I leaned over and patted his arm sympathetically. "Big brother, you're only 5 years older than me," I said with a sigh, hugging my tea like a lifeline. Meanwhile, Derek had become impossible to avoid. His stupid face was everywhere. On TV, on social media, even in YouTube ads. He had joined a reality show and was now crying into the cameras every chance he got. I didn't know how to love. He sobbed dramatically. Oliver, please forgive me. I'm nothing without you. I rolled my eyes so hard I almost gave myself a headache. Oliver, you must never forgive him, Peter declared, gripping my hand with a death grip. I mean it. Once a psycho, always a psycho. Harry, sitting nearby with his arms crossed, frowned deeply. Honestly, things aren't so bad now, he said slowly. The three of us getting along. It's peaceful. Joshua didn't say anything, but his hand, warm and steady, rested lightly on my knee. Later that night, when Joshua was lulling me to sleep with soft rhythmic touches, he leaned down, his breath ghosting over my ear. His voice was low, almost pleading. Oliver, he whispered, I don't want to be second best. I want you, all to myself. I squeezed my eyes shut and pretended not to hear. Sometimes pretending was easier. In the days that followed, Harry started brewing all kinds of strange, nourishing soups. Peter signed up for a baking class and proudly presented me with cakes that ranged from shockingly good to downright dangerous. Even Derek, in his desperate attempts to win me back, somehow managed to send over elaborate bento boxes, beautifully arranged and depressingly delicious. They were all so afraid I might break. But if they only knew, I wasn't as fragile as they thought. Honestly, what was my life anymore? This morning, I was supposed to blend in like any other freshman, just another tiny fish in the vast sea of university life. Instead, I pulled up in a luxury car driven by Harry freaking Wilson, CEO of the food conglomerate. Not to mention Joshua, ice cold and perfect as ever, trailing behind with my backpack like a loyal knight, while Peter Wilson ran off to buy me breakfast as if I were royalty. Naturally, we caused a scene. Girls screamed, guys gawked, professors paused mid-sentence. I swear someone dropped their phone and didn't even bother picking it up. And then, Derek, the new nationwide heartthrob, burst through the university gates like a man on a mission. Oliver, I was wrong. Please, just look at me once. I like you so much. I love your collarbone. I crave. Before he could finish confessing to any more of my body parts, Joshua calmly stepped forward, eyes sharp and cold as steel. Get lost. Simple, effective, brutal. Derek actually flinched before being escorted away by campus security, who, by the way, asked for autographs after dragging him off. Peter clapped Joshua on the back. Good job. That's how you protect Oliver. I can even call you brother from now. I did a double take. Peter Wilson just offered to call someone else brother? The end was nigh. Harry showed up moments later, oblivious to the chaos, and reached out to straighten my collar with a frown of brotherly disapproval. You let your shirt wrinkle like this? Unacceptable. So yeah, normal first day. We returned to the Wilson mansion that evening, and Joshua, of course, followed. At this point, he basically had a toothbrush and spare clothes in the guest room. Or what used to be the guest room. Now it was clearly his room. I thought I could relax, but no, of course not. Because that night, my heat came early. It crept in like a slow flame, twisting in my stomach and tingling under my skin. I locked myself in the bathroom the moment I realized what was happening, heart thundering in panic. Within seconds, the entire house exploded in chaos. Joshua's pheromones hit like a thunderstorm, sharp and electric. Peter's scent rushed in next, warm and spicy, frantic and unfiltered. And then Harry. Always calm, always restrained. But even his scent was powerful enough to make my knees weak. It wrapped around me like silk, laced with dominance. I clung to the bathroom counter, legs wobbling, heart pounding. Nope, not going out there. That's death, literal death. Oliver, Peter banged on the door like a madman. Come out! I promise I won't do anything. Just let me see you. Yeah, sure, totally trustworthy. Little Oliver, Joshua's voice cracked, thick with hunger. I miss you. I miss your scent. Okay, officially dying now. Then Harry's voice came, low and tense. Oliver, come here. Just a little look. Please. 3 grown alphas, desperate, overstimulated, on the other side of one fragile bathroom door. What did they think I was? A roast duck? I pulled out my phone to search how to survive being targeted by 3 pheromone-crazed alphas. But instead, I got a notification from Derek. A photo popped up. A selfie. Wind-swept hair. Melancholy stare. Caption, missing my wife's scent so much. I lost it. Snapping. I flung the door open. All of you, listen up. I shouted, cheeks burning, vision swimming. Go to a hotel. Separate rooms. Send me your room numbers. I'll pick one and come over last. They stared at me for half a second. Then chaos. Harry, Peter, and Joshua vanished like smoke. One went for the car keys. One called a hotel. One tried to book online and accidentally double-booked the whole floor. I shut the door with shaking hands, gritted my teeth, and bolted out the back. 5 minutes later, I was flying down the road on my beloved electric scooter, heat still swirling in my body, hair whipping in the wind, eyes narrowed in grim determination. They thought I'd pick one of them? Please. I picked freedom.